Hello, everyone.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? How was your Labor Day?
Pretty good.
Good.
Nice. Nice weekend.
Have you guys been practicing extra on your week off?
A little bit, yeah. She mostly practices go and get it.
All right.
Come on, Coco. Come here. Come here. Here she is.
Oh, guest stars. Oh, hello.
Hi, Coco. Come
All right. Well, I know some of us on this call have had a very exciting day. One of us might have gotten stuck with a dog for a few hours today.
here. Really?
Not me. Someone on the call though. So welcome. Glad you all are here. We are going to be talking about a new tool that you're adding into your toolkit, which is going to be the look cue. And we are also going to be talking about stress tonight. Exciting stuff. So I'm just going to give people a couple more minutes to file in, and then we will jump over and watch the video and then chat a bit. Going to apologize in advance. I might be a little low energy. I got a spider bite, actually 2 spider bites, and am now on my 3rd antibiotic and prednisone because just because life is freaking unfair, you know. And then what did I do today when I went to take a shower and saw a little spider? I was like, oh, I guess I need to put you outside. Let's go. So didn't make me break vegan, but tempted maybe. All right. So again, the lesson this week is going to be look. You can also Google search look at that to do a little bit more of a deep dive, but this is simple and straightforward. We also have emailed the engage disengage handout with your instructional for this week. So we have a couple of different avenues to dive deeper into this. Casey is not with us tonight. She's actually in a meeting doing some Hello Bully business. So I'm flying solo. We got this. All right. Let me grab that link if you didn't already grab it from your email. Also, I'm on a challenge. I'm a Mac user, and Macs become obsolete after 10 years. They're great. Like, I've never had a problem with it, not one problem. But what happens is after 10 years, they become obsolete and the operating system stops updating and like things just stop working correctly. So I got my new MacBook and I just have not, I have not had the chance to switch over, but I'm giving myself a little challenge that by next class, I am going to be on my new MacBook, okay? And I'm going to use presentation mode and learn how to use like the whiteboard presentation feature, okay? No pressure, Daisy. Oh, I just committed to something. All right, you guys can help keep me accountable. All right, I am pasting this into the chat. Make sure it went to the whole group. All right, this one's about 7 minutes long. Lots of cute dogs in it. So I'm gonna pause the recording, go watch the video, see you back here in about 7 minutes. All right, so I apologize for talking crap to my dog, Oswald, when I said, look at you, like your little hot mess. She's doing so much better than you are. Oswald, oh, Sally liked watching them. Good. Oswald was a very difficult dog to handle. And there were like 4 people in his world who could actually handle him, and Tino was one of them. So we just used him as a demo dog because it was good for him to get out. He actually loved other dogs. And that was one of the things that we were able to use to get him close to people. We actually used Tina's dog, Keanu, to help facilitate that relationship. All right, so I want to talk about stress for a minute, because I think that is one of the most important things to understand when we are working these dogs, because this is all about fear, anxiety, and stress. So when we talk about going over threshold, what we're actually describing is the sympathetic nervous system taking over. Okay. So that is when we go into fight, flight, freeze, fornicate, fidget, fawn. We have disengaged with the parasympathetic nervous system, which is why your dogs are not able to take a treat. Remember, we talked about that's a great gauge for how stressed are they. If they can't eat, probably too stressed. So once the parasympathetic nervous system has kind of gone offline, that's responsible for so much. So they're really at a deficit, like they cannot perform, function, operate the way that we would want them to. So when our dogs are triggered and they're invaded with adrenaline, epinephrine, norepinephrine, cortisol, did I say adrenaline? What we need to do is get them some distance from that trigger so that we put them in a space where they can work. Okay. So sometimes when we are doing this work, we notice that our dogs are having difficulty recovering. Okay. That's one of the reasons that we only want to do this like 3 or 4 times a week, because we do not want our dogs to be in a constant state of like hitting that edge. Like you see on those graphs how close together it is, the high performance and the bye, I'm freaking gone. They're so close to each other. So it's really important for us to just embrace and understand that we have to be watching our dogs all the time. We always have to have like that open line of communication, which is probably really improving. Your communication with your dog has probably already, you're probably already seeing signs of improvement. You want to look at the ladder of aggression. Let me pop that into the chat. So the ladder of aggression, we can also kind of look at the low levels of it. So at the very bottom, we can think of this as arousal too, because arousal and aggression very much develop, those states kind of develop in similar ways. I would not say that dogs who are highly aroused, like arousal doesn't lead to aggression, but a dog in an aroused state is more likely to be aggressive. Does that make sense? Okay. So when we look at the bottom of this, the green stuff, yawning, blinking, nose licking, lip licking, averting their gaze. Like when there's another dog, right? I've done dog intros where we put 2 dogs together and they're like, oh my gosh, they're like totally ignoring each other. Okay, is that normal? No. Dogs who like you would think would be social together, if they're not paying attention to each other at all and actively avoiding each other, that's a sign. Turning the body away, sitting, pawing. What does that yellow one say? Oh, I can't even see it. Oh, walking away. Creeping. So this, as we get into the orange here, we're actually getting into aggression signs. So creeping, ears back, standing, crouched, tail tucked. Lying down, we talked about the tap out, where a dog will show its belly, but their tail is going over their genitals. That's how you can kind of get a gauge from the whole body. If they're giving belly, you can tell if it's a tap out, please don't, I'm not enjoying this, or it's a please pet my belly, by the position of the tail. Is the tail loose or is it covering their parts? Stiffening up, staring, growling, snapping, and biting. So when we can keep our dogs down in this green area, whether it be arousal or aggression, we are better off. All right, I'm going to pop this other stress graph that I also emailed you into the chart just so that you have it.
So a question for on that chart. The green
Yes.
area is you would call that submissive?
Nope. Nope. Submissive and dominant are kind of conversation enders that are from a school of thinking where we had an alpha.
Yeah.
Okay. That study was garbage. And you can, if you want to, I actually just emailed someone this. It was a study of captive wolves that were not related, and it doesn't have anything to do with domestic dogs in a family with humans.
Yeah. Well, if you
and it actually doesn't have anything to do with familial packs of wolves either. So if you want to do a deep dive, Google alpha myth.
Well, I was wondering, because the top of the chart is aggressive. So what would be the bottom?
Right. Calm, relaxed, happy. Yeah.
Well, when Coco meets other dogs, she kind of squats, wags her tail and squats, and even pees herself.
Oh, so that is actually called, the correct term for that is submissive urination. So it is a signal to the other dog that she's not a threat.
Yeah, so but
so that is a form of communication. And I think, so for Coco, what I would do is work on introducing her from distances where she's like not going that far into her emotions, right? Where she's like a little bit more in her brain and able to be operant. So my old dog Miko, who's in the painting, she was a boxer pit bull mix, and she was very dog aggressive, dog reactive, but also like at some points when she was young would submissively urinate in the presence of other dogs. So but yeah, I mean, we can look at those green.
Down?
What?
Kind of slow down the introduction, because she gets really excited and she wants to go and meet him.
Yeah.
And then
and then there's all this emotional conflict because she's going too fast. Yeah. So we can just slow things. We just have to be the parent in the room and be like, I know you want to, I get it. This is super exciting, but we got to slow down because you're going to get yourself in over your head. And there are some dogs, Raphael, who will actually, they get so conflicted that instead of, that like, oh, I'm not a threat, and throwing those signals to the dogs, they just go to a bite. So you're lucky that she's at least conflicted in like on the other side of it. But I do think that building up her confidence will help with that.
I have a question. If my dog tolerates one other dog,
okay.
and she met that dog when the dog was a puppy, and generally tolerates puppies better than other dogs, like puppies and like some elders that are not stressed. Any dog that doesn't have stress or any worries in their life, she's like, okay, that's fine. But she doesn't get past yellow with this one dog, and the other owner is very understanding, knows the story, and would easily back away if we ever had an issue. But we go on walks with this dog, and I wonder if
Yeah.
it's good for her that she's like, I can tell she's tolerating. Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't like other dogs, and I'm okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But she like tolerates this dog and will go on walks with this dog. Should I avoid this dog or just like allow this tolerance to
So
exist?
I would try and open up the distance a little and try and get her closer to the green in those walks. But I think that they're probably beneficial for her. Some of the things that you said just ring, they're very, very true in dogs. So puppy license. Adult dogs do not view puppies as competition. So puppies can get away with shit that adult dogs could never get away with. BG's first female dog friend was actually Magnolia, also known as Mags from King Fly Spirits. She's their greeter dog now, but she was here as a foster puppy. And because she was so young, BG was able to have a relationship with her, and that kind of opened the door for her and female dogs. And with elder dogs, there's also, some older dogs who are confident, just command respect. And dogs, this is also true for people. So who are we competitive with? We are most often competitive with the people who are most like us, closest to us in age, social status, gender, relationship status. Like all of those things make us peers and more competitive. I think we said, ladies in the room, you're probably not competitive with the 15-year-old boys that you know in your life. That would be weird, unless you're roller skating. So this all makes sense, Nika. It all makes sense. But I would keep going, maybe add more value to the walks, maybe buffer it with a solo walk on one end and an ice cream on the other or something. Yeah, awesome.
It's rare that we walk together. It's like maybe once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then we
that's
encounter
good.
each other, and she's the only dog who has broken through.
Right. Well, and it gives you a chance to start working some of these things in the presence of a dog she can tolerate. So that in and of itself, I think, is super valuable.
Also say the owner always has treats. And we think that that's mainly the main thing, is that the owner also has treats. So if you meet neighbors with treats, they're good neighbors.
Yep. The difference that a treat bag makes is like ridiculous, just dogs knowing, like, so you're saying there's a chance. It doesn't take much, and we don't have to become reliant on food. We don't have to use food to coerce them. We can just really use our tools that we have and use it as a reward for teaching. So yeah. All right. How is everybody else doing? Any other questions or comments? Maddie, how's it going?
Question. Yeah, I was wondering how barking plays into this ladder, because I feel like our dog Scout has different levels of barking, and I was curious if there was like something that we can tell when he might be setting off, because I feel like especially he's mostly people reactive. He's very reactive and fearful of people, and a lot of the time I see him immediately, I notice him going to the stiffening up stage and then pretty much just barking and sometimes even growling.
Okay.
And the proximity.
So if the bark is followed by a growl, then it is that's information right there, right? Like, we know that if it's historically a growl is the next thing, we know what that bark is saying. Okay. Also, when you look at a dog, okay, so these are their two sets of legs and their head is over here, right? We want to look at the body axis. Are they leaning towards the thing, or are they leaning away? If your dog is barking and the front of them looks like this with their head up here and their legs like this, like they're about to lunge, that we don't like that. That's too much.
Yeah.
Excited barks are usually have a loose body with them and maybe like some up and down motion, but not a lot of forward motion. Maybe some like forward, back, maybe some play bows. But I think that this is a precursor to a growl. So I think it's on the ladder for your dog. Yeah. And you know, there are a lot of different types of barks. There's also, so I met a client today who their dog recently bit, and I said, let's meet outside. The assumption was that this dog has stranger danger with men. This dog has stranger danger with everyone. She was on a flexi lead. The owner just let the dog like come so close to me. And I was like, please stop. She's like, but her tail's wagging. And I'm like, no, she definitely will bite me if you let her come up to me. She's not happy right now. And you know, I don't know if I said this early on, but a tail wag is like a smile. It can mean so many different things. It can mean, hey, how you doing? Or, hey, how you doing, girl who stole my man in high school? It you know, we have to look at the big picture, and tails really are a sign of arousal. It just means that there's something going on. There's also some research about piloerection on the back or on the shoulders versus on the tail, like poof, or on the butt. And I cannot recall. I'll put it in the email when I send this video out. One version of those hackles or piloerection tends to be associated more with offensive aggression, or fear. And one is more associated with, offensive or fearful, or defensive or fearful, or offensive and aggressive, right?
Okay.
I think it's all fear, but like, you know, we need to delineate. So I'm going to look that up. Look up piloerection study. Because I found that very interesting. And I think we have a nice sampling group here to collect some data on our own.
Yeah,
love
our
data.
dog usually gets it on the shoulders. So
Okay.
if that helps your research.
Okay, good to know. Good. There might be a poll in the next meeting. All right, good. So, does anyone else have questions or comments?
I put this in the chat and I just want to be cautious. Is humping people anywhere on the aggression ladder? Because like Chiku will hump people, but then I just realized like, oh, we're just all moving too fast, or, you know, socializing is too big and she needs us to slow down. But she's never shown aggression towards people, and I just don't want her to ever show aggression towards people. So I just throw things down.
It's usually arousal. Most people don't like it. So teaching away from it is great. You know, teaching dogs to sit for polite greetings, and teaching people how to like wait until the dog is ready, and maybe toss treats or have the owner giving the treats instead of the stranger giving treats. We will talk about that in the last week, and kind of how to do that. But I think what you want to watch out for, in my experience, when it gets a little bit too much is when it gets very grippy. Oh, okay. I don't like it then.
Yeah, she does it really grippy. I mean,
I don't like it.
We've become, since she's gone on Prozac, it's become less, but it's some people more than other people.
Yep.
They'll get, and it's usually like people she wants more attention from, like people she really knows who come over.
Okay. So why don't we do this? Why don't we try to just look at it as a poor needs meeting strategy, or what we used to call attention seeking behavior, and interrupt it with an incompatible behavior. So if these are people that she knows and we're not worried about an introduction, let's, like there's a new sheriff in town. There's a new criteria. If you want to interact with people, we're not going to do the humping thing. have her on leash if you need, so that the person can walk away and then come back and stop if she starts displaying that behavior. And make it a more calm experience for her. We need to make this a little bit more boring. She's too excited, right? And what happens is that when we're up in these aroused states, we make bad decisions, especially if we're a toddler brain in a wolf suit, right? Like, what's the worst that could happen?
She's like a toddler wolf.
That's
her suit.
That's exact. It's a toddler brain in the body of a wolf. Like, well, I don't know why we did this, but I live for it. So, but I think we need to tone that down a little bit.
We have a doggy gate, and we'll put her on the other side of the doggy.
That's fantastic. That's
and then
fantastic.
she'll bark at us, and I'll try to give her something to distract her, and just give her something else to do.
Yeah. Nika, I think week 4 of our basics and beyond has spot training or stay please on this, which is basically mat work. That is like the super, super quick version of Dr. Karen Overall's protocol for relaxation, which if you go to drkarenoverall.com, that is a very, very rich protocol that, there's parts of it that I think are a little strict. It's not bad. It's very, very good. It is just, it doesn't have a lot of like touchy-feely language in it. It's just not Dr. Overall style, but it is fantastic for teaching our dogs how to be calm in situations where they have struggled. Awesome. Jilly, who's that I see? 2 dogs on the screen.
This is new girl Pebbles. She's the one that, hold on, they're gonna get all crazy now. She's the one that kept me in the woods for a couple hours today. Pebbles. She's very interested in Flynn now that I started talking.
Well, I'm glad that you guys are out of the woods.
Me too.
I was thinking of you and Taylor Swift all afternoon.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we finally made our way out. Corey came with Flynn, and as soon as she saw Flynn, she was interested in walking again, but
Awesome.
she definitely just wanted to lay and not move for a long, long time.
Yeah. Yeah. So Pebbles is new to Jilly's home, pending an adoption, and she just got stressed out today and just kind of shut down. And so when we talk about that stress curve, she was like on the roller coaster, went for the ride, and was done. So we're glad that she's back. Good to see you, sweet girl. But that
Can I
is
ask a quick question?
Yeah, absolutely, Alex.
So our dog Franklin, he's never really been aggressive. The one thing we have that's very confusing that he does, he's usually good with people coming over and stuff. He's more reactive to like cars and other dogs in public. But when people go to like get up or change positions or leave, he like hops up and chases them and like nips at their butt. So it's like almost a little bit of a hurting behavior or something. I don't know. It's weird. If we interrupt it, like if we're planning, if we're like, oh, okay, these people are going to leave, we make him sit on his mat and we give him treats and it's fine. But if someone like, even like we're sitting around a table and they get up to go, he'll go and like chase the person. It's very strange.
I mean, he's saying a lot with that behavior.
Yeah, it's just confusing because it's not really aggressive, but like people perceive it as aggressive.
I mean, it's not aggressive, but he's asking for space. He's saying, I'm kind of glad you're leaving.
Yeah.
So, one thing that is like the top line item for dogs who struggle with having people over is just giving them time off, giving them a room, a frozen Kong, a nice walk before.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that like I might have a drag line on him when people come over, just let him drag a leash, so that you could scoop him up if he goes to nip somebody.
Yeah, it's always just like baffled us because he'll be like dead asleep. like fully asleep, like on the floor, we're chatting with friends, and then someone like changes positions, and it's like you were just asleep for an hour.
Yeah, so I think what that tells us is that he's kind of like he's having a tough experience when people are over, right? So he's
Mhm.
tolerating it, but there's some anxiety there because the second that something changes, he's kind of explosive.
Mhm.
And although he's not gone and done the bad thing, he's gotten up there. So
Right, yeah.
yeah, I mean, you're absolutely, Alex, on the right track with doing the mat work. I would just make that, like, work that back into your repertoire,
Mhm.
and sharpen that up for him. The relaxation protocol from Dr. Overall is a great way to do that. And it helps you pay attention to some biofeedback from them and just really get them to feel more relaxed, right?
Okay.
So that he's not feeling like he has to do that when somebody gets up to leave or get a drink.
Right, yeah. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Awesome. Good to see in the chat that you guys are having success. I love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
I mean, this idea of giving dogs a break, Chiku has, like, since we got her, been such a FOMO dog, and like has like separation anxiety, which we've done departure training, and it took a long time, but she can be home alone and it's amazing.
Awesome.
But if she's like not letting us sit and have dinner with friends, and she's kind of like barking at people or wanting to get in their laps or things like that, I'll put her upstairs, I'll give her a frozen treat, but she just can't stand not being able to see us or
Yeah.
be with us. And it just sounds 10 times more stressful for her to be trapped in a room. Like, she couldn't handle kennel, crate training or anything like that. She just can't do confinement,
Yeah.
even in a room.
And if she can't do banishment, she might be able to do protected contact. So using a baby gate, um, it's great when they can visually see people, and have their treat be kind of in the mix, but also be like over there where you and your teeth are going to not make any bad decisions. And I know you said that she has not
She loves.
exhibited any of that. But again, there's definitely some conflict there with that, like, grippy, so you guys are doing great though. This is a fantastic group, and I'm so glad that everyone. Tobias, how's it going over there with your crew? I talked to Sarah, by the way, from
Oh, did
ECR.
you?
Yeah. She actually helped me out with a dog who showed up at my house. This little husky mix. And she was we did not have a foster, and I have a boarding dog here, so we literally had nowhere to put her. And Sarah she had an open foster, so she took her, and she mentioned that you guys have these, the little trio.
Yeah.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. We've been kind of playing catch up more so in the Rad Dog than we did in the basic, and part of that was I had some back-to-back trips to Maryland, and I was out in Minnesota for a week, and so kind of got behind a little bit, and so we're just kind of playing catch up, and so it's slow going, a little bit slower
Yep.
than the basic was, but they're catching on.
Awesome.
We did have an incident this morning though that I'm in pain right now from. So
Oh, no.
we don't feed them in the same room, right? And so Bruno eats in the kitchen, Matilda eats in the dining room, Ralphie eats over by his crate. So they were all at their bowls, and I came in the living room to turn the TV on, and I come back towards the kitchen, and I guess Bruno was done first, and he come out the kitchen around the corner to where Matilda was, and as I was turning on the TV, I think she attacked him,
Oh.
and then they ran into the back of my knee, and my knee buckled. So it was, I've been in pain all day, having them run into me like that. But yeah, we had that incident this morning.
Well, I'm glad that it wasn't worse because I thought we were breaking up a dog fight here.
We've had worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's so hard because management works and then we get relaxed because it works and we just like back off a little bit and then it's like bam and it reminds you real quick.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what happened.
Sorry that happened, but I'm glad that you're okay and that everyone's in one piece.
Yeah, yeah.
And Tobias, I'm glad that you mentioned that it's slow going. This work is a lot harder than the basics. And we're building layers on top of layers, and some of this stuff is going to take a long time. So I am glad that you're here. We built this course knowing that people have lives, and we made everything so that if you get behind, you can catch up. So I'm glad that you're still here. Awesome. I love it. All right, everyone. Well, I hope you have a fantastic night. Do you going to say something?
No, I just said thank you. We're
so
honored to be here. Thank you for having us. So.
You're so welcome. I'm glad you guys are here. All right, everyone, have a great night. Please do mark your calendars for Nob Hill Park in Marshall Township on October 1st, which is a Sunday at noon. That is going to be our group walk. I will also include it in the email, but save the date. That email will come tomorrow, not tonight, because I'm sleepy. So night, everybody. Thank you so much. You're doing great.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Night.
Good night.